Today we're checking out the Bose QuietComfort Earbuds Generation 2. Not to get confused with the QuietComfort 2, these brands really struggle when it comes to naming. But today we're going in depth. I'll be scoring and ranking them against 29 earbuds in 10 categories. Retail price here is $179 US, 289 Australian. And here's my current leaderboard with the similarly priced OnePlus Buds Pro 3 in the first spot. Bose QC Ultra and 2 are pretty low in the ranking, so that'll be the main comparison throughout this video. You can customize the scoring as well as compare all the earbuds easy with the free spreadsheet linked below. I'll cover that later though. Now let's get into category 1, comfort. And this is basically the old design just with the stem chopped off. So exact same ergonomics, the same 3 sizes of ear tips and wings. And this fit worked great for me. It's a moderately deep fit with minimal suction and pressure in the ear canal. So I'm scoring them an 8 out of 10 here. It's a fit that should work for most ears. And a lot of people don't like stems, so here you go. You don't get a stem and you also get a wing. A great combo. But now to category 2, the security of the fit. And these are one of the few earbuds on this ranking that actually have wing tips. Now wings usually don't do much for me in my giant ears, but the larger size here actually does help well with stability. The QuietComfort Ultra are still one of my go-to training earbuds because of this and the incredibly strong noise cancelling, of course. So with Generation 2 here, it's basically the same, great for weight training. Running, they also work quite well with a minimal amount of body-borne noise from the impact you make on the ground and your own heavy breathing reverberating to the ear tips. And the transparency mode doesn't pick up too much wind, so that's gonna work well if you're running outside. So I'm scoring them an 8.5 out of 10 with the addition of the wing. The Beats Fit Pro and Sennheiser Momentum Sport are scored slightly higher because they just have a bit more of a secure fit, but they are sport-focused earbuds. But if you like using your earbuds when training, you get an IPX4 water resistant rating here. Same as the Ultra and QC2. Now onto category 3, case and battery life. So you get an advertised 8.5 hours on the buds, 31.5 hours in total, and that's with noise cancelling on. So in terms of earbud battery, that's the best on this ranking. A solid improvement over the QC Ultra's 6 hours with the buds, 24 hours in total. Now you can chuck the buds in the case for 20 minutes and that'll give you 3 hours of playback, which is an extra hour compared to the QC Ultra. It is still a bit on the slow side. A lot of buds give you that much charge with just 5 minutes in the case nowadays. And you don't get wireless charging, same as the Ultra and the QC2, which is pretty crazy to this day. At this price, basically every earbud will have wireless charging. And the case itself is pretty compact, but it's definitely on the chunkier side. Here it is compared to the QC Ultra, which is about middle of the pack when it comes to thickness. And here it is compared to the AirPods Pro 2, which is the thinnest case on my ranking, so you can see a pretty noticeable difference there. Still, I'm scoring them an 8 out of 10, even though you don't get wireless charging and the case is a bit chunky. The main focus here is a solid earbud battery and decent total battery life. All right, onto category 4, controls. So you're getting touch controls here with a single, double, triple tap and long hold. You get a nice subtle beep feedback with each press. If you don't like the beep feedback though, you can't turn this off. And sadly, you're not getting swipe control seen on the QC Ultra and the QC2. So that's a bit of a letdown. But you do get complete customization of all the functions on the left or the right earbud. So you can add everything in here. Volume up and down, mute your microphone on phone calls, even take a remote selfie. So you can have your camera app open and then take a photo or start recording a video just by tapping on your earbuds. The only thing missing here is being able to change the noise control switching. So you're stuck to switching between noise cancelling on, transparency, then noise cancelling off, rather than being able to choose just 2 of the 3 options, which you could do on the QC Ultra and QC2. But you still get wearing detection here to automatically pause and play your music when you take one or both earbuds out of your ears. And it works very well, it's pretty responsive. You just can't turn this feature off or customize it, which you can do on the Ultras and the 2s. But a new feature you're getting here is called voice control. So here you're able to answer calls, play and pause your music, skip tracks, adjust volume, and a lot more by using your voice. All you need to do is say, hey headphones, and then say one of the preset actions that they have in the app. You can also calibrate it so it recognizes your own voice a little bit easier. And in my testing, it works pretty well. You can just say, hey headphones, and this will pause your music, or you can say, hey headphones, volume +4, all in the one sentence. I did notice some issues though, so if you're around loud music, I noticed it wasn't as responsive. You might need to yell a bit louder for it to be able to hear what you're saying. And sometimes it just randomly wouldn't work, even when I was in a quiet room. And the app also needs to be open and running in the background for the voice control to work. But you don't need an internet connection for it to work. So the total score here is an 8 out of 10 with the solid customization and the voice control as a nice extra feature to have. I still prefer swipe control and less customization, so that's why it's the same score as a Bose QC Ultra and QC2. Now onto category 5, connectivity. So you're getting Bluetooth 5.3, SBC and AAC for your codecs. No high-res codecs, which is completely fine. I did have some issues with the QC Ultra and QC2 when it came to connectivity. Sometimes there would be random dropouts when I was in like a slightly busy environment, or I would take the earbuds out and they just wouldn't connect randomly. Now that has been improved on generation 2. There were still a couple of times where I'll take both the earbuds out and then one wouldn't work, so I'll just put it back in the case, take it out, then it would work. But overall, it's an improvement. And you can use one earbud while you leave the other in the case, and it does work in mono mode, so you can hear the left and right audio channel coming out of that one earbud. And you are getting multi-point connection here, so you can have 2 devices connected to the earbuds at the same time. You just need to pause on one device before you play it on the other device for that audio to kick in. And they do have a low latency mode, which in my testing didn't change the latency at all, at least testing on my iPhone 15 Pro. Still, the latency is fine with it off. With watching movies and videos, it's completely fine. When it comes to mobile gaming, if you're into quicker action games like shooters, it's actually not too bad here. Much better than the QC Ultra and QC2. So I'm scoring them a 7.5 out of 10, losing some points for not having high res, but honestly, high res barely makes any of a difference when it comes to sound. Now onto category 6, call quality, and I run through 3 tests here: a quiet room, some simulation crowd noise, and a simulation windy city with construction noise. Total score is the average of all 3 tests. First, like I said, you are able to mute your microphone using the touch controls when you're on a phone call, which you couldn't do on the QC Ultra or QC2. You also get side tone here, which is supposed to amplify your own voice when you're on a phone call, so you can hear your own voice and you're not like yelling in a quiet environment. But it did nothing for me. But like I said, you can just turn your transparency mode on with touch controls and you can still hear your voice. Or turn noise cancelling on if you're in a noisy environment, so you can hear the person that you're talking to. Side tone is on the Ultra and the 2s, and it does work, but you're not able to turn noise cancelling when you're on a phone call, so I much prefer just to be able to switch between noise cancelling and transparency. But now the call quality itself, sadly, you're getting the same poor Bose call quality. They're getting a 6 out of 10. So they perform better in the Windy City test, but worse with the crowd noise test compared to the Bose QC Ultra. So here are some samples compared to the Ultra and one of the newest, highest ranked earbuds for call quality, the OnePlus Buds Pro 3. All right, here's the call quality of the Bose QuietComfort Ultra in a quiet room. All right, here's the call quality of the Bose QuietComfort earbuds Generation 2 in a quiet room. All right, here's the call quality of the OnePlus Buds Pro 3 in a quiet room. All right, now we're going to see how the microphones block out some simulation crowd noise. All right, here's the Bose QuietComfort Ultra earbuds with some simulation crowd noise. All right, here's the Bose QuietComfort earbuds Gen 2 with some simulation crowd noise. All right, here's the OnePlus Buds Pro 3 with some simulation crowd noise. All right, now I've got some city noise, some construction noise, and some simulation wind. All right, here's the Bose QuietComfort Ultra with some city noise, construction noise, and simulation wind. All right, here's the Bose QuietComfort earbuds Generation 2 with some city noise, construction noise, and simulation wind. All right, here's the OnePlus Buds Pro 3 with some city noise, construction noise, and some simulation wind. All right, category 7 is app customization and extra features. So I'll cover everything here and go into a bit more detail later. So you can get the app on iOS or Android, and they now use the Bose QCE app. These buds won't work on the old app. And I wouldn't really say it's an improvement. The UI is like interesting. They kind of just shoved everything onto the one main page. And there's a lot. So let's just start from the top and work our way down. So you have your earbud battery, but you don't get the battery of your case. Noise control has your noise cancelling and transparency options. EQ has 4 preset EQs, as well as a 5-band EQ, which is a nice jump up from the only 3 bands you got on the Ultra and the 2. Touch control and voice control we already ran through. Multi-point is just a toggle to enable it. To turn the buds into pairing mode, you just hold down on the touch surface on either bud for 5 seconds. The Bose tab will take you to the Bose website. I guess they can plug their own website in. It's their app, I guess. Then there's fast mute, which just allows you to set it to your controls. Same with remote selfie and voice control. I feel like this is kind of unnecessary to have. It's already in the control settings and it just takes up more space on the main page. So some customization of these tiles would be nice to be able to just get rid of some or just move them around. But smart calls will have your call customization. You got your low latency options, and battery prediction will predict how much battery is going to be left on the earbuds. For me, it always just said 12 hours when they're at full battery. And I had the music playing quite loud with noise cancelling on, so don't know how trustworthy that is. But that's everything. The app itself is a little bit sluggish at times. I noticed quite a lot of slowdown. Overall, I think the old app is cleaner, but the main benefit here is that you now get a 5-band EQ up from the 3-band EQ. Still, I'm scoring them a 7 out of 10 with the solid EQ customization and control customization, 2 of the most important things you want in an app. All right, onto category 8, noise cancelling. And how I test my noise cancelling, I chuck on my soundbar nice and loud, and play simulation plane noise and crowd noise, so I get low, middle, high, consistent and inconsistent sounds. And here is the scoring for all the earbuds on this ranking. So the Bose QC Gen 2 getting an 8 out of 10. When it comes to blocking out voices and higher frequencies, it's very impressive. I'd put it on par with the AirPods Pro 2. But low frequency sounds like plane noise and engine do leak in quite easily, which is kind of interesting because the QC Ultra and QC2 are the best at blocking out low frequency sounds. Now, you don't get any customization of the strength, it's just noise cancelling on and that's it. But they have a very minimal amount of white noise hiss, where the QC Ultra and the QC2 did have a slight amount. Another issue I had with both of those earbuds is like a very subtle static sound just coming out of the left earbud, only noticeable with noise cancelling on, with no music playing, but this seemed like a pretty common fault with both of those earbuds. So no issues here on generation 2. Now, a small thing to keep in mind is that the microphones do pick up wind quite easily with noise cancelling on. And there's no automatic wind reduction mode here, which usually will quickly turn the noise cancelling off, so you're not going to hear the mics pick up that wind. And they do this slightly more than the QC Ultra and QC2. So just something to keep in mind. Now, if you want to use noise cancelling with one earbud at a time while you leave the other in the case, that works completely fine. And finally, when it comes to EQ shift, this is how your sound quality changes with noise cancelling on compared to noise cancelling off, compared to transparency. And as usual for Bose, there's barely any EQ shift, the same as their old buds. But now, category 9 is the transparency mode. And it's overall very solid, natural, it picks up voice as well, barely any occlusion, which is kind of that blocked ear effect you get when you speak yourself. So your own voice sounds very clear and natural as well. There is a moderate amount of white noise hiss, but slightly less than the QC Ultra and QC2. Like the noise cancelling, there's no automatic wind reduction if the mics pick up too much wind, but for some reason here with the transparency mode on, it doesn't pick up wind as easy, and the mics usually pick up wind easier with the transparency mode on, so don't know what's going on there, but it's a good thing. So total score here is a 9 out of 10. When it comes to overall clarity, I'd say it's slightly better than the QC Ultra and QC2, but they use like an adaptive transparency mode called Active Sense. So this is kind of a blend of transparency and noise cancelling. So with the transparency mode on, it will automatically reduce the volume of loud sounds like you turn on a tap or a kettle or like cars driving past. So these are features you'll see on buds like the AirPods Pro 2 and Galaxy Buds 3 Pro. But now let's go into the final round, sound quality. And starting with my max volume test, I got 114 decibels, basically on par with the Ultra and the 2. So you're getting plenty of volume here. But one thing to keep in mind is when using the custom 5-band EQ, your total volume is brought down by about 3 clicks. I'd say it's closer to 110 decibels at max volume, which might not be loud enough if you're a bit of a volume junkie, but the preset EQs keep the same max volume for some reason. So don't know what's going on there as well. The QC Ultra and QC2 didn't have this issue. A unique feature to Bose though is a low volume EQ, which will basically boost bass and treble when you're listening at lower volumes, since naturally we hear less. And this works just as well as the QC Ultra and QC2. Apple and Google do this as well with their buds, but Bose does it the best. You just get a much richer sound at those first few clicks of volume. But now onto the sound quality itself. Overall, it sounds about the same as a QC Ultra and QC2, which is good. They're good sounding earbuds. So you get a tasteful amount of deep sub bass here, a little bit of that subwoofer in your head kind of feeling, but it has nice punch and it's a clean mid bass response. The mid range is definitely the standout though, so you get nice clear forward vocals, still quite natural and overall decent instrument separation. I found female vocals didn't stand out as well because the treble is just okay. You do get some nice detail, a bit of resolution, but the upper treble is a bit lacking. Still, it's a nice, smooth, detailed treble response that's rarely going to get harsh even at higher volumes. Another small issue is that the soundstage is a bit closed in, but you do get that 5-band EQ, so I like boosting the upper treble slightly. I found past this level, it starts to get a little bit too harsh, so you can really only steer away from the stock tuning so much. But you can get these buds sounding better than the QC Ultra and QC2 with those extra 2 bands. Because on the QC Ultra and 2, if you dialed up the treble, it would also boost the upper mids, so I found it would get harsh even easier. It's still incredibly close between all 3 buds there, so I'm scoring them a 7.5 out of 10. Now you aren't getting spatial audio here, which the QC Ultra does have. Still not a huge issue. I'm not a huge spatial audio lover. It does work well on the QC Ultra when watching movies, but when it comes to listening to music, I find there's too much reverb. So it may seem like it's a lower score, but honestly, the 7.5 out of 10 earbuds still sound great, and you get some very impressive instrument separation here. As you go up higher in score, the main things I noticed is slightly better instrument separation, a more open soundstage, and I really noticed a treble detail and upper treble sparkle is a bit better. But that wraps up all 10 categories, and before we go into the final score, here's how you can customize the scoring with my free spreadsheet linked below. So on there you have notes for each score, you can compare the specs, and there's a core quality tab. To personalize the scoring, it's super simple. Just fill out a number in the importance column and that'll multiply the entire category, giving you a new total score for all the earbuds, as well as a new custom ranking. But now the final scores are in and the Bose QC Gen 2 finished with 77.5 out of 100. So it's an improvement in ways. The only real standouts here is that it's a stemless design. You do get your wingtips on there and strong noise cancelling when it comes to middle and high frequencies. But today it's just so competitive at this price. You can just get better value earbuds like the OnePlus Buds 3 Pro, which are cheaper and they're overall better. So check out my full review here. Thanks for tuning in, stay picky, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.